This is PlayerProps.ai. This for winners research. We run it up with every betting tool you know in each perk. Travis tested waters, help you swim even the feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you PlayerProps.ai. This for winners research. We run it up with every betting tool you know in each perk. Travis tested waters, help you swim even the feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you.
Hey guys, it's me Travis with PlayerProps.ai, and this is what we're looking at for Monday Night Football Week 17. This is the last game before the last week of the regular season, when most of the teams in the NFL never play ever again after next week. We did something unique yesterday, so I'm recording this on Monday, the day of. We did this last week as well. The holidays are kind of moving the content schedule around. We did something new for the very first time on Sunday. So we've been playing around with a bunch of different live stream ideas for the last 2 years now, since we've been alive. And what we did differently is we did a live play of the day. Normally we do a live community show where you guys drop your favorite plays in like the YouTube chat, and then we compare what you like with what the app is saying and see if there's anything that makes sense. But I put a vote in Discord, and I was like, hey, do you guys want to see a live stream at 11 a.m. per usual, or do you want to see a play of the day for Sunday Night Football? And the vast majority, roughly 65%, voted for the play of the day. So I was like, how about I combine the two? I'll go live at 11 a.m. and I'll focus on a play of the day. So instead of me hitting record, I hit go live, and I do the exact same thing. I'll go through the exact same process, but you get to see it in real time. And we were on a pretty nice NFL streak, and our play yesterday hit, so we are now 17 straight days, factoring out concussions and ban lists. 17 straight days of not missing an NFL. The play yesterday was that DeAndre Swift would get over 69.5 rushing plus receiving. He got on the final drive, so everybody hit that one. That was Sunday Night Football. Saturday Night Football, we had Tyler Huntley passing for one passing touchdown at least. He hit that. So, yeah, we're on a pretty sexy win streak here, and we want to keep this going. So this is what we're going to be doing for Monday Night Football. Now, if you ever need help, you just have to ask a question. I don't know if you don't know this, but I'm not a mind reader, nor is anybody in our Discord. So we don't know if you need help unless you tell us you need help. And the best way to do that is by asking questions. If you try to force a question every day, I guarantee you're going to be a whole lot better next week and the week after that and the week after that. If you try to make it a minimum of asking at least one question in Discord, and even if you're struggling, I don't know if there's anything I have a question to ask, find something that you need help with, whether it's a specific play you find on the app or strategy or whatever it is. Try to ask at least one question in Discord on a daily or weekly basis. If you never stop asking questions, you can never fail. The only people that can potentially fail with our guidelines and with our app are the ones that don't follow the guidelines and that they never ask questions. Anytime somebody says that they're struggling or that they're not having success, the first thing I do is I ask them for their Discord username if they bring this up outside of Discord. And then I check their Discord history, and if I see they've never asked a single question about anything or never shared a screenshot of what they like to get community feedback, then I'm like, listen, if you're not following the guidelines, of course it's not going to work out for you. You have to follow the guidelines. The guidelines are detailed into the Discord, and again, as you see up here in a second, you have no excuses for not joining the Discord. What I've designed is a foolproof system. If you get in the Discord and you follow the guidelines in the Discord and you use the PlayerProps.ai app exactly how I've designed for you to use it, not how you want to use it, you can just come in here, drop 10 pick parlays, and then complain it's not working out for you, because that's not the guidelines. You use it as I've detailed in the Discord how to use it, and then you are guaranteed to curb your betting losses. I added this new thing down here that all you have to do is apply yourself, and 2026 is going to be your best year ever. If you were down, are you in the red at all for 2025 in regards to sports betting? I can guarantee the guidelines in the Discord that you 100% have to be in. You have no excuses for not joining it. We're gonna curb your betting losses. I know exactly why you're losing as much as you're losing, which is why I created this in the first place, because I saw millions of people lighting their hard-earned money on fire, and I was like, you know what? These people need guidance. There's nobody educating them. There's nobody holding their hand and guiding them through what they need to know, what they don't need to know, and what they need to do and what they don't need to do. So that's the whole reason why I created this. I'm like, hey, let me create something that is extremely simplified, that as long as you commit to learning the guidelines and you click the button, like on the app, the button up here that says how to use this app. I tried to make it glowing. I tried to make it white to make it look different than everything else. And I still have people that'll be like, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? If you've never clicked the button that's glowing in your retinas, in your eyeballs, it's time for you to click that button. If you're not in the Discord, it's time for you to join the Discord. You're going to have a horrible time betting in general if you're not following our guidelines. So just follow them. So let's find something here for Monday Night Football. We have the Rams and the Falcons. Now this game, I'm going to be sweating bullets on. So I am in 3 fantasy championships. So what we did for the community this year is we did 2 PlayerProps.ai leagues. I believe both of them are like 14 teams each. I made the finals in each of them. And how it works is first place gets $1,000, second place gets $300, and then the highest score from both of the champions, which whoever has the highest score, they get some hardware. We're going to actually do a video we're going to design through our friends at Trophy Smack what the hardware looks like. I was talking to the guy who's definitely going to beat me in one of the leagues. Like, hey, you probably will have the highest score. I think it's Wacko Gacko in our Discord. He's definitely beating me in that league. But in the other league, where I think I'm versing Turbo Chop, that's his Discord username, I'm definitely going to be winning that. But because Brock Purdy had a monster game last night, I think I'll actually have the highest score. So then I would be designing the hardware for myself. But these, I mean, I can't wait to do more leagues. If you're definitely interested in doing fantasy football next year, pay attention to that channel. We only did 2 leagues this year, but I want to do like 10 if we can. I want to make this crazy big. And we have a lot more people than we did at the beginning of this NFL season. So we'll see what happens with that. But the last thing I want to mention is the biggest sweat I have is, if you guys don't remember me talking about this, I'm in the biggest industry, so like fantasy sports and sports betting, the biggest industry fantasy football league in the world. And I actually had to win my way into this league by winning a different league to get into this, like, top, 12 or 14 people? I don't know. And they're all like companies that are represented there. And so this is the second year that I've been in the championship game, and I'm versing the same person that beat me last year. I'm done with all my players. He has Kyle Pitts, and I have a 16.2 point lead. It's a full PPR league. So as long as Kyle Pitts does not get more than 16.19 points, then I finally complete the bucket list by winning the biggest industry fantasy football league in the world. And that's what I'm going to be sweating most. But let's find something for you guys to sweat tonight here. So, what I normally never look at the app before I hit the record button, but I know that as soon as I saw what I needed Kyle Pitts not to do, I wanted to see his defensive matchups. And receiving wise, the Rams are 11th this season in allowing the most passing yards. Now, this also factors in all of the games that they've played this year, but they're 4th in the last 3, so they've been pretty squishy on allowing passing yards recently, which is something we don't want to see because we don't want Kyle Pitts to outdo 16.19 points. I know that the Falcons defense here, you see how this is orange, and yes, I am saying orange because that's what this color is. It's a mixture of yellow and orange, and we decided a long time ago that we're going to call it orange. But Atlanta, 21st, they've been pretty decent, a little bit better than average this season, but they've been a little bit more squishy recently. 13th in the last 3, which means only 12 teams in the NFL have allowed more passing yards than the Falcons in the last 3. So we did the baby line removal, so there has to be a line that's 40 and higher. And if we're looking at percentage difference, Drake London is the only player out of this entire game that has a percentage difference of 12 or higher. When looking at the over, and then if we look at the under, it looks like it just updated, so now he's at 10%. There's nobody really to target the under. Like, the only player that has a receiving yard line of 40 or higher that has even a smidge of a negative difference is Bijan, but of course, we're not going to go under on that because there's no edge at all. So the only player that could be considered, I'm curious, Did his line just go up, or did the projection just go down? Because this was 10% before it updated, which means it's probably better somewhere else. Yeah, FanDuel still has him at 12%. So I think it's the line. So FanDuel has a slightly better line. I don't like the Atlanta Falcons at all. And that's not like saying that I hate the Falcons, like the team sucks and I'm like against the team. But in terms of like the players on the team, I don't trust anybody on the Falcons. I don't even trust Bijan. I know he's an elite running back, but he hasn't had the consistency that I typically look for. I know that I've mentioned one of the worst receivers in the league is Darnell Mooney, which is on the Falcons. So when Drake London was hurt, Darnell Mooney was like the featured receiver, and he still gets like one catch a game just because he's not good. He's not good at getting separation. He's not good at anything. And if you're like the star receiver and you're only getting 1 to 2 catches on average a game, you suck. But now that Drake London's back, he's had some. I mean, he had 3 straight games here of getting 104 or more, and then after 11-16, he gets injured and doesn't come back until last week, where he's projected to get 77 and only got 27 yards. But nobody lost any money here because we have a golden rule that you never play a player coming back from injury on their first game, so we wouldn't have touched this anyway. But now that he's 2 games back, I mean, we already know that the Rams more than likely are going to win this game. Before we look at any of the projections on that, they're the only team that has something to play for, and the Falcons, in theory, would like to have better draft stock. But I still think that good old Kirk Cousins is still going to try to air it out as much as possible. This probably is going to be Kirk Cousins' last NFL season officially. I could only assume he's going to hang it up after this. I know they have Michael Penix, and the only reason Michael Penix isn't playing is because he got hurt. I don't think Kirk Cousins wants to spend another season as a backup, unless he just really, really likes Michael Penix and wants to stay another year to like provide that veteran leadership and education that you can get from somebody who's started as many games as Kirk Cousins has. But factoring in that there's a good chance he probably is going to hang it up at the end of the season. That's what I can only assume. I don't know what his contract is. I don't know how many more years he has or how many much more millions is guaranteed. But just from a narrative standpoint. So if that's the case, yeah, he probably is going to just air it out against the team that's allowed the 4th most receiving yards in the last 3 games. So somebody's got to catch those targets, right? I feel like it might be Drake London, hopefully not Kyle Pitts, because we don't want Kyle Pitts to get any points. I would like him to have 0. But yeah, on FanDuel, it looks like they both have a 10% 10% difference. So there's what, 6, almost like 7.5 roughly receiving yard difference. And then here, because his line's a little bit lower, he only has like a 5.2 difference. I want to see what Kirk Cousins' line is, because maybe we don't even have to rely on who's catching the ball, just the fact that he's going to be airing it out. If in theory, so he's at home. Let me see something real quick. Did the Atlanta Falcons play at home in week 18? Yes, against the Saints. So he's got 2 more home games to finish out the season. But no, the AI doesn't think that he's going to go bananas passing-wise. This is interesting. So Matthew Stafford, he's got 21 yards higher for his projection. Now, I know this is orange, but if you factor in the actual number here, this is only 3 away from being green. It's still mid. There's 32 teams in the NFL, and 16 is the halfway point, so it's still not one side or the other, but it's closer to green than it is to red. if you look at his last 5 games here, he's gotten at least 243 yards each game. He's getting more comfortable airing it out. The Seattle game was a dud, but then he he avenged himself by throwing for 457. I went to passing yards to look at Kirk Cousins, but this actually is more intriguing because of the difference. What I'm going to do first is see if we can find a line that's better than 268. Pass yards. 265, Bet Rivers. Okay, so we go back to our predictor. Passing yards, change to Bet Rivers. So now he has a 24.48 difference. 24.48. I believe somebody said in Discord earlier, they were talking about the spread in this game. Yeah, so right now the Rams are minus 7.5 favorites, but the AI is saying that the Falcons should cover that. So this should be a closer game than a touchdown difference, or maybe the Falcons lose by a touchdown exactly, which would make plus 7.5 spread hit. But the other thing to reference is it's only a 51.6% projection, which, I mean, the lowest number this could possibly be is 50.1. So it's really close to being a toss-up, but there's still like a super, super small edge on Falcons to cover. And not saying that we're going to bet that either way. I know we're definitely not going to bet the Rams money line, because if Falcons are favored spread, that means we know that this is already going to be a red money line difference, which is what we see here. So the next question we have to ask ourselves when it comes to game script is, what is the rushing attack defense? So the Falcons have been pretty squishy this year in allowing the 7th most rushing yards this season, but they've been a little bit better lately. They're now in the middle of the pack, 15th most. So if we want to argue and say that the Falcons do a decent job of stopping Blake and Kairen, that would force the Rams to pass more, which would get Stafford closer to his line. It's also interesting here, the Rams have a pretty stout rush defense, but there's something I mentioned yesterday, which is we don't want to focus on going under on elite running backs, and Bijan, we can argue, is elite. Same thing with last night, where we, in our live stream for Sunday Night Football, we were looking at CMC, where the AI was slightly leaning under on a few of his props, and I was like, never, ever, ever go under on CMC. Which, of course, if you listen to that, you didn't lose any money, because he definitely went over pretty much everything he did. But so Matthew Stafford passing yards is interesting, but what's also interesting is if the Rams are going to win, which let's just say that they're going to win, then that means they're running the ball to run out the clock in the 4th quarter. Blake is getting a lot more attention recently, so this season he didn't get that much attention, but these last 4 games, like 128 here, 71 here, 48 here, he's spelling or giving relief to Kairen a lot more recently. So if we're going to save Kairen for the playoffs by not forcing him to run out the clock when they're already up by a touchdown, maybe Blake does get a lot of rushing yards at the end of the game. There's only really a 6-yard difference here, and there's a 6.5 here for Kairen. And again, Atlanta is a very squishy rush defense, but Kairen's been pretty consistent all season here. So right now we still have Bet Rivers selected, where his line's 64.5, and he's hit this every single game. 7 out of the last 8 games he's hit this line. So right now his projection's at 71. Seems to be the highest projection he's had since this New Orleans game here, where he had 74 and rushed for 114. Which one do we like more? Do we like Kairen or do we like Stafford passing yards? Let's see if we can find a better line for Kairen. So right now, BetRivers has what, 64.5? BetMGM, wait, BetMGM 61.5. BetMGM 61.5. Yeah, that's almost a full 10 yards difference here. So I think what I want to do here is, there's two things that interest us. We have Kairen over rushing yards and Stafford over passing yards. So let's pull up the good old Joey cheat sheet here. And let's see if we can find... So first I'm going to look at passing yards to see if Stafford's on there. Stafford is not on passing yards. So this is, if you guys are premium, you have full access to this. This is a cheat sheet link that we post in our cheat sheets channel in Discord. And what Joey does is he highlights players that when the AI leans a certain direction, which players are hitting at the highest possible hit rate. So this says, for example, anytime that the AI projects that Jacoby Brissett is over passing yards, not that we go over passing yards just because he's on here, but because the AI leans that direction, that he's hitting at a pretty high rate. Actually, highlighted green you see here means he has a 100% hit rate. So nothing there. So let's go to rushing yards here. And Kairen Williams isn't here either. So yeah, there's nothing for either of these players hitting at a 75% or higher hit rate. So now we just got to figure out which one do you want to go with? Kairen or Stafford? If we're talking about game script and we have the Rams winning, essentially the Rams will not be passing at the end of the game. The Rams also have a better defensive matchup against the run than Stafford has against the pass. Technically. I know the total pass yards allowed is 13th in the last three for the Rams, or for the Falcons defense, and the Falcons defense is a little bit better here. So I guess if we're like merging these two together, it's a better opportunity to attack the run defense than it is their pass defense. The fact that we can get his line all the way down to 61.5 on BetMGM is nice. And the fact he's been pretty consistent here. Like, they're still vying for playoff seeding. I don't think 61.5 is a hard number to hit as the featured back. I'm not in love with the fact that Blake is getting a lot of touches, but even when Blake gets touches, I mean, he's still hitting his line. So I think we're going to go with Kairen here. I think it's a better defensive matchup, and it goes to the game script, which is what I talk about all the time. If you have the Falcons winning this game and upsetting the Rams, then I would go Stafford. But if you have the Rams winning this game, it makes sense to run out the clock with Kairen Williams. I think that's what we're going to be doing here. Let's... There's one more thing I want to peek at. Rushing yards allowed. So Atlanta this season allows 128 rushing yards average. They last three, they still have allowed 116 rushing yards. The last game, they allowed 132 rushing yards. So if we factor in this, yeah, 132 is still 12th most. But we're looking, so yeah, I don't think I'm worried about this Atlanta rush defense. When Atlanta's at home, they've allowed 119 through 6 home games and through 9 away games, 133. Kairen's a pretty decent back. I mean, if they're allowing over 100 every game and we only need him to get 62, Blake can get however many he wants to, but I think Kairen can get 62 against this defense. And then we'll look at total pass yards allowed. Only allowed 203 in the last game. At home, they allowed 234, 216 on average. Yeah, we're going to go Kairen. So, this isn't rocket science. I just taught you over the last 25 minutes on how to use this app to win more and lose less. From using the app side of things, you still have to get into the Discord. You still have to follow the guidelines. If you want to have success, you have to try harder to have success. The only reason you're not as successful as you want to be is because you aren't applying yourself, which is literally our branded hashtag that you see on the bottom. You're not going to win every single bet. Remove that from your brain. Your focus for 2026 is just to lose less often. And if you see people in Discord losing less often, there's a reason for that. A, they're in the Discord, and then B, they're following the guidelines in the Discord. If you want to join them in losing less often, just follow the guidelines. If you have any questions, ask them. And not just if you have any questions. I mentioned this at the beginning of the show. Try to make it a point to ask at least one question a day. You can do this before you upgrade your account. You can do this after you upgrade your account. It doesn't matter. Just be proactive on lessening the gap of understanding of how everything works from you being day one and from the people that have been here for 12, 24 months. It's very easy to close that gap and expedite your chances or expedite your path to success. Just learn from them. And the best way to learn from them is asking questions. There's almost 21,000 people now in this community Discord, and every single person is more than willing to help you. You just have to ask questions so we can answer them. We can't answer questions that you never ask. Good luck tonight. We'll see you guys in the Discord. Because you should be there. You have no excuses. Good luck.